Hello everyone, Zia on this side. So today hand we are dealing with the names of major blood vessels, be it arteries and the veins. Okay, so let's get started. So starting the first thing first, it is the heart. Okay, go through. Now, as we all know that the heart of mammals is basically four chambered, which is divided into two atria and two ventricles, or rather we call them as the receiving chamber and the pumping chambers. So let's get started here. So this one is the right atrium, this one is the left atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle. Hopefully you do know some basic information about the heart. So I'm directly going for the names of the arteries and the veins. So basically, first of all, I'll be going through the arteries. So it is the left ventricle which is pumping the blood into the dorsal aorta, or rather I'll be going through that through the dorsal aorta, the left ventricle is pumping or supplying the blood to all the body organs. Okay, go through. So what is the name of the artery which supplies blood to the four limbs? So basically, the name of the artery which is supplying blood to the four limbs is called as Subclavian Artery. Okay, deal with. Now, the name of the artery which supplies blood to the head and the neck is called as Carotid Artery. Okay, do remember, the name of the artery which supplies the blood to the head and the neck is called as Carotid Artery, whereas the name of the artery which is supplying blood to the four limbs is called as Subclavian. Why it is? Because it is the artery which is located just below the clavicle or the collarbone or the S-shaped bone. That is the reason why the name is the Subclavian Artery. Okay, go through. And the name of the artery which supplies blood is called towards the lungs is called as Pulmonary Artery. We already know that whenever the word pulmonary is coming, do remember one thing, that there is an involvement of lungs for sure. Okay, go through. Now, as we all know that the name of the artery which supplies blood to the liver is called as Hepatic Artery. Okay, go through. But still, I've written here as gut only. So for one case, if you are going through that the gut is basically, that the gut is basically the gastrointestinal tract, or rather I'll be calling it as a organ system level, because the gut is comprised of many different organs. Okay, stomach, small intestine, and the large intestine. So here three major arteries are there which are supplying the blood towards the gut. The first one is called as a lienogastric artery. The second is called as a supramesentery artery, and the third one is called as inframesentery artery. Okay, deal with the case. So there are the gut is the only one which is receiving three different arteries, which is receiving blood from three different major arteries named as lienogastric artery, supramesentery artery, and the inframesentery artery. Now, dealing with the kidneys. So basically it is a renal artery which is supplying blood towards the kidneys. Same as with the gonads, it will be called as gonadal artery. And the last but not the least one, it is a hind limbs which is receiving the blood from the iliac artery. Okay, deal with. Now, going for the veins or the counterparts of the arteries. Okay, because the arteries are the blood vessels which are carrying blood from heart towards the body organ, correct? From heart towards the body organs. Whereas the veins are the one which are collecting the blood from the body organs and they are giving the blood to the heart. So the name of the vein which is collecting the blood from the hind limbs is called as, it is the iliac vein. Okay, deal with the case. Same as with the artery, which means like the iliac artery was there which is supplying the blood to the hind limbs. Now iliac vein is where which is collecting the blood from the hind limbs. Now, dealing with the gonads, again the name is same just like the gonadal artery. It is a gonadal vein which is connecting the blood from the gonads. Same as with the kidney as well. Okay, it was renal artery which was supplying the blood to the kidney. Now it is the renal vein which is collecting the blood from the kidney. Now, if I am dealing with the gut, there is a little issue in the gut. Here we do not have any name, rather like the names of the veins of the gut are called as simple, they are called as the gastrointestinal veins. They are called as gastrointestinal veins, or rather we'll be calling them as gastric veins. But basically gastric veins are not directly connected with the proper inferior vena cava. Rather, they are pouring all of their blood towards the liver. Correct? So here we do not have any connection. Correct? Rather, the connection is this one. And this is called as hepatic portal vein. This is called as hepatic portal vein. Why we do have hepatic portal vein? Because whenever we are eating anything, maybe there will be some amount of toxins or like any harmful material is present, which if absorbed and is entered directly in the blood may cause a severe damage to the different organs of the whole body. So that is the reason that the gut is directly connected with the liver. The gut is directly connected with the liver by means of hepatic portal vein for the detoxification. For the detoxification. Okay, deal with the case. Now, majority of the higher mammals are showing hepatic portal system, whereas the lower mammals are showing renal portal system. Okay, do remember one case, that the majority of the higher mammals are showing hepatic portal system, whereas the lower mammals are showing renal portal system. Humans are showing hepatic portal system, that because like we are dealing with the human circulation. Now, the name of the blood which is collecting the blood from the collecting the blood from the liver is called as hepatic vein. Okay, please go through the arrows as well, which will be helping you to go through like how in which direction the blood is getting flown. Now, here we have pulmonary vein, which means they are collecting the blood from the lungs. And I have drawn some interconnection of the heart and the lungs as well, because we do know that the humans are the one which are showing double circulation. Correct? Or rather, I'll be going through that the mammals are the one which are showing the double circulation, which means the heart is receiving the chamber from the whole body organs in the right atrium. Then again, the blood goes from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Then from the right ventricle to the lungs. Then in the lungs, the oxygen will be added in the blood, or rather the carbon dioxide will be removed from the blood. Then the blood is again sent to the left atrium. Then from the left atrium it will be going to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle it will be coming out by means of aorta, and then it will be reaching to the different body organs. So this is the reason why we call it as the double circulation, and I have made this interconnection here as well. Okay, so the right atrium is called as the receiving chamber, whereas the left ventricle is called as the pumping chamber of the total body organs, whereas the left atrium is called as the receiving chamber of the lungs, and the right ventricle is called as the pumping chamber towards the lungs. So the major blood vessel, or the vein which is giving the blood, which is pouring the blood into the right atrium, is called as none other than coronary sinus. Okay, and just in case of the forelimbs, we have just dealt about the subclavian artery. Exact opposite is called as a subclavian vein. And the only single blood vessel which is having different names, which means like the blood vessel which is supplying the blood towards the head and the neck, and the blood vessel which is collecting the blood from the head and the neck, are having totally different names. The artery is called as the carotid artery, whereas the vein is called as a jugular vein. Okay, deal with. Now, one extra thing. Whenever we are dealing with the names of the veins, we maybe like you have gone through like the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Correct? Superior vena cava. Hopefully you have gone through this name. So this superior vena cava is basically above the heart, which means this. Okay, deal with. Again I am going through. This is above the heart, which means this complete portion, and below the heart will be called as inferior vena cava. It will be called as inferior vena cava. Deal with the case. Now, so for your ease, I have just gone through the complete diagram or the line diagram for the human circulatory system in one single shot. Okay, go through it. Hopefully this lecture has been beneficial for you. If you do have any kind of doubt, you can ask me there in the comment sections as well. Thank you very much for your so much support. Thank you.